I wanted to continue this. This is the third video. I just put the other two up. At least I tried. If you're interested in going back and seeing why that the global Illuminati is in place now, the whole point was they were taking down the monarch system. Mind control was used in the shooting of King Ferdinand. Then you've got Tsar Nicholas, the takedown of Tsar Nicholas, and Woody. Oh, don't let me forget his name. Woody, who was the president? Woodrow Wilson. The American government and its agencies helped orchestrate and take down Tsar Nicholas. And by the way, that really was Anastasia that was here near Roanoke, where I've been since '86, and the University of Virginia is Charlottesville. She lived outside there on the farm, Scottsville, a few miles out, and that was really Anastasia. And the Blue Ridge Mental Health killed her on the 4th of May of '84. And her husband was a professor there, Anderson, at the university. But what I wanted to go into here, and then they kidnapped me and took down my father. And my father was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. This is my dirty, rotten uncle that the movie, none of history records the truth. This is George VI, my uncle, who helped take down with nothing but lies his own brother, the real king, kidnapped me, his niece. If this happened on a TV program, you know who you would be rooting for? My father. It's quite odd. Elizabeth has really done a job with my money and selling out Great Britain. She's illegal, so everything she's done, treaties or anything, are illegal. The placement of military bases all over British soil, signed by George VI, illegal, with Roosevelt and this whole mess. This is 39 when they kidnapped me in 41. All these things, most of them started back when the United States really invaded us, using my own uncle to do it. Military bases, everything. And the Brits pretend to be friends. Their close relationship started when they kidnapped me in 41. Look at the dates. Brought me here to Moulton, Alabama, or to Moulton, Alabama, and gave me the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, Meredith Childers, and Carl Preston. These names have been used in some of the murders, too. I wanted to go, though, to the Ebola virus again. It's part of deliberately taking over the British, like in Africa, and when they took over, kidnapped me and took over, put the military bases all over Britain. They've even got an Area 51, the United States does, in Australia. The whole thing was to take over Great Britain and use it as a launching pad for global takeover, and that's what they've done. The Illuminati, New World Order, the United States, and this government from way back. But the Ebola virus and the AIDS, I told about that with the Emory, or at least the AIDS, but the Ebola, I believe the first encounter with that was in '76 and in Africa. But the point here is when they took over Great Britain, they also, it was a strategic place because you've got Denmark, Finland, Norway, I hope I'm not leaving out Sweden. Did I say Sweden? They were a monarch system and related to me. And God knows, I hope they've remained decent people, not gone with Elizabeth the fraud and killer. But anyway, a lot of the land that they took over was from the rest of my family. They took over Great Britain, and they had the war crimes, and not one person, then the kidnapping and takedown of my father and the murders and all this and the killing of the Brits and the Germans, not one has been held accountable. Yet they really rushed up to the Nuremberg trials, right? Not one person has done anything other than benefit from my hell and the British's hell. while I suffered and paid for their crimes. I had this woman when I was begging for a place to live, and I don't know what she was doing there at Edinburgh Village retirement here in Roanoke. She said it was really strange why she was there because her name was Carol Roger Simon, and she had been married to a psychiatrist, Jewish psychiatrist, who was stationed in Seattle, Washington. And she had the gall to say to me, she says, and there's other things she did while she was there, they let her get away with it. She said, you're paying for your family's crimes. No, honey, I'm not paying for my family's crimes. I'm paying for the crimes that you, the Jews, the Americans, the New World Order did to me. That's what I'm paying for, your crimes. Now then, I want to go back, and I'm just going to read this. I wrote about the mind control murders, programming done in patterns, and then the way to take over Great Britain totally is if they haven't done a pretty good job of it, you can get their monarch and replace me with your own United States, and it is your government, and you should be held accountable. So the Ebola virus and the AIDS makes the United States, they created it and planted it there and let it mushroom and kill, and then they go in, and as now that they're doing with the military and all this equipment, they've invaded and used their weapon, mind control, with their, well, they genetically engineered the AIDS and other diseases in their labs here, the AIDS and Ebola, over the years. And I had here, but you can, if anybody cares to see the truth, that's what this is all about, the truth. Let's put it this way. A lot of these programs were started when they kidnapped me in 42. Roosevelt started one. And I'm going to say this, the biochemical program started by the United States, a weapon program. Chemical began in 43. Officially, it started sooner, but officially in 43, after my kidnapping. And the military putting its bases all over Great Britain. It was started by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, president. He's the one, remember, that helped kidnap me. I just saw a program on public broadcasting, and they make him out to be a hero. Not one word of anything of what they've done and are still doing to me and my sons, to the British, and did to my father and mother, a most decent human being. Not one word of the truth all these years. So they're going with their lives. But this is the man who helped with these programs. The research continued in the stockpile of biological agents and weapons. Throughout its history, bioweaponry programs were secret. It became controversial when later revealed that laboratory and field testing was used on some stimulants and none on non-consenting adults. Well, that's what mind control has done. Nobody has to be placed under mind control. I mean, it's so hideous. And then if someone finds out and they go to a doctor, how would they find out? But they go to a doctor, then he's going to do them just like, and you have to ask yourself about the doctors nowadays. Why do they not tell it? The Aurora, Colorado. Here's a psychiatrist. I did want to get this one in. This is a psychiatrist at finished school here in Blacksburg, where a lot of these, the beheading of the Chinese lady a few years ago, Christmas Eve, and at the college, and a guy just, the other Chinese student, who's a nice fellow, they say, suddenly got the idea, hit him to jump up and behead her. And they were friends. She had just come there from China as a student, and he carried her head. They picked up her head and carried it, and this is in the trial transcripts, that part of it, but I told about it being one of the mind control murders back then. So it's mass mind control that the agency of the United States has developed and is using. So how do you know that some of the people that are suddenly going to ISIS and beheading and